Hey everybody, how you doing? Oliver Joyce here from Whiskey Barrel Studios. Welcome to February and the end of what I affectionately call Hell Week, which is a bit of an overstatement really, but last week was a real challenge for me because as you know, long-time viewers of the channel know, I'm not a fan of Apple or Apple products, and I just struggle getting my games on the app stores just for many reasons, primarily technical, but a little philosophical as well. Every time I go to patch my games on Apple, they change the system on me. There's some new requirements, there's some new screenshot format, or you can't do it this way anymore. These are the new rules, and you've got to study up on them. And I actually was thinking internally it would be Hell Fortnite, but I got it down to a week. So good news is Swords and Sandals Crusader Redux is now live on the App Store. So if you have an iPhone or an iPad, check it out. I'd love to see what you think. Of course, the Google Play version came out a week before that, and the Steam version came out at the end of December. All versions are now up. Also, Swords and Sandals 2, 5, Pirates, and Medieval have been patched for the iPhone and iPad. Long overdue patches that have been at least a year or more since I patched them last time, and I've done a lot of big fixes for the Steam versions, and so I'm glad to get those out on the mobile versions as well. Please check it out. I'd love to know what you think of the iPhone version. It actually runs quite nicely. If you have an iPhone X, I only discovered this after I'd uploaded the first version. The little notch is a bit of a problem because it obscures the little leaders panel where you see how much gold and how many troops you had. So I had to do an emergency patch and push everything in a little bit for mobile versions. My wife has an iPhone X, and I'm waiting for her to get home so I can test out the update because I just had to patch it without actually having the device myself. Fascinating, no doubt, for you and me. Anyway, December and January were challenging just in terms of months of just patching and maintaining the old games and getting them ready. Game dev is not always fun. Like everything else, it's a job. When I say not always fun, I'm not in the mines, I'm not in the army, I'm not, really doing hard physical labor or anything like that. And I don't have, a job where, I have to, sort through files and that kind of stuff. But it isn't always, I'm testing Super Mario Brothers today or anything like that. Game dev is about, I reckon, the old saying, 10% inspiration, 90% perspiration. There are wonderful moments in game dev, but a lot of the time it is laborious, and especially towards the end of a project when you're testing and bug fixing and doing the various ports of different systems, it can be a real chore. And that's what the last couple of months were. And I'm well aware of the Swords and Sandals games and the many bugs that they've had over the years, and I try to patch them every year, just because if I was constantly patching them every month, I would never get anything new done. But I never want to abandon any of the old games if I can help it. So as always, I want to apologize for any bugs that you might find, any long-standing bugs that you see in the games. Rest assured, I've got a big bug tracking document that I, keep track of all these different versions of the games and the bugs and so on. And whenever a new game comes out, I take the time to go back and patch the old ones whenever possible. And now because there's 11 games across the mobile and Steam versions, including the classic collection and stuff, there's a lot to patch, and it takes a long time. So anyway, Swords and Sandals Crusader Redux is out on iPhone. Please check it out and review it if you like it. And of course, there's a one-off in-app purchase, actually two, Maximus mode and Ultratus mode, which unlock various game modes for those who enjoy the game and want to play it further. Well, deep breath. What's next for me, I hear you ask? Well, this month, firstly, I'm updating the Tome of Lore a little bit every day. Today I did a little entry on Sword and Sandals 3 for the Construct Platos. And then I've got about 8 more bosses to add to that. And then there'll be Sword and Sandals 4, Sword and Sandals 5. I'm going to be updating those, and that's on the swordandsandals.com. You can just, if you want to read more about the, the lore behind the game and the stories and so on, that's the place to check it out. And I'm sort of putting that all together in preparation for the next big project, which, I'm not announcing, but you all know what it is. You know what it is. But I want to do a bit of an announcement video, probably at the end of this month, once it's all official. The rest of this month, I'm actually learning. I'm doing some learning on Godot, whatever you want to call it, which is open source game engine competitor to Unity, Unreal, and of course Starling, which I'd been using for the old games. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Godot has to offer. I've done about half a day's tutorials, and I like it so far. And I've been reading a little about it, as you can see in the Teach Yourself Godot in 24 hours, more or less, probably longer than that. It's not as easy as, 24 hours and you're a master. But learning that this month. If it doesn't suit me, then I'll probably make the next big game in Unity, because I'm familiar with Unity now after Spartacus. That was made completely in Unity, and I like Unity. There's a lot to like about Unity, but from what I read about Godot, it's a little more lightweight, and it might be a bit more fit for purpose for this game. You've got to be a little engine agnostic and platform agnostic when you're a game dev. For so long, I was stuck making these games in the old Air Starling frameworks, and I got the most of them out of them as I could, but there is a lot of shortcomings and so many things that I'm aware of that those games should have had and could have had, but I just couldn't do it because of the game engine. So moving them over to these new game engines will make a big difference. And if you check out Spartacus, you'll see that the game looks very nice and has tons of particle effects and shaders and just things that I couldn't do in Air and Starling. And in the next game, I'm looking forward to being able to not make it completely overwhelming with particles and shaders and stuff, but just make it look nicer and run a little nicer. So that's what I'm doing this month, is learning. You never really stop learning in game dev, and in particular for me, believe it or not, I'm actually a pretty slow learner. Programming doesn't come naturally to me, even though I've been doing it, since I was 10 or 11. I'm self-taught, and I often struggle with certain concepts, and much more of a creative than a technical person, really. And so I don't know if you're like that out there, and if you are, I sympathize with you, because I find it hard, and things that people say, this is easy, just do this tutorial, I often have to do it 2 or 3 times to figure it out, and I make a lot of mistakes along the way. So game dev is a lot of fun, but not necessarily easy. So that's my month. I'm going to go on a hike at some point, and then I'll do a video from the hike, possibly to talk about the next big project if I'm feeling inspired there. Otherwise, we'll do one at the end of the month when I've got more information. I got to sort of plot some things out on paper and just get my head around what's happening. And I'm excited to reveal. I'm sure you're excited to know more about it. As always, thanks for being a fan of Swords and Sandals, and to a lesser extent, Whiskey Barrel Studios and myself. If you enjoy these videos, I'm going to make one every week, possibly more, with the Games Gladiator and stuff firing up again soon. Subscribe if you can, and hit the little bell for notifications. It's YouTube. You know what to do, right? And more importantly, play Crusader and have a great week, whatever it is you're doing. And of course, as always, I read all your comments, even though these days I don't reply to them as much as I should. And I'm going to do an Ask Me Anything at some point again too, because we're probably due for one of those. So I'll sort out some questions. And anyway, time to get on with the learnings. Put on my student hat and go to the College of Godot. Until next time, my friends, bye for now.